Yes, people, live with Warriors Martial Arts, man. Gonna talk about his journey. Just gonna add him. I sent request before. It wasn't adding for some reason. So we'll try again. Now on it. I've sent the request. Warriors Martial Arts. Sorry guys, a bit of technical difficulties here. Gurpreet Singh, get the Gurpreet. See on the video camera, it says plus. There should be a one with a red thing on it. If you click on that, yeah, I've accepted it now. It should come on. Any luck? Sorry guys, just hold fire, man. I'm just trying to get Bargy on. Any luck, brother? Yeah, I'm accepting it, bro. Not seem to connecting for some reason. I mean, it does do this on mine a bit, but it normally accepts it after a few goes. Any luck, bro? It should work. Hold fire, people. It'll be on soon. I am accepting. Yeah, I'm accepting, bro. It's not coming through, is it? Wonder what's going on. It's never done this before, this many times. Any luck? Yes, finally. Oh, that
Fine.
was a mission, bro.
Didn't
I don't
work.
know what was going on. I thought it's gonna be cancelled.
Ridiculous.
Okay,
Ridiculous.
let's Wagyu Khalsa.
Oh, but there.
Wagyu. Yes, so just told the audience I met you at GR8, bro, and we've touched base there thanks to Hari Singh and his events. A lot of people touch base there, innit? You probably met a lot of people yourself there, I know.
Yeah, definitely. I met a lot of people, new people, old people. So it's a good place to bring in the Sangha together. You know, it's a different sort of feel, different vibe, which is good. I remember, when we're at the East London one, I meet all the old London crew when I go out to Brandon Walls. I meet all those guys up there as well. So touching bases with old faces and new, it's fantastic. And then connecting, like even with yourself as well. You know,
Yeah.
meeting you, and then we've had our conversations here and there. And then it's great work you're doing, and really appreciate
No,
you
vice
having me
versa.
on your live.
Yeah, bro. Just look, I'm not saying I'm right or my opinions are right or whatever, but you know what? I'm brave enough to have the conversations and start the
Definitely.
discussion and plant some seeds and get people talking and thinking. Even if they disagree with me, it's still making the people's brain work to certain topics that we shy away from. Do you know what I mean, bro?
Definitely.
So that's my intention, innit? I'm not no Kartak Jatidar, I'm not no Gyani, or I'm not no Sant, but what I am is a realist, and I could talk about life through my lens, what I've seen and stuff like that, you know? And that's all I do, and connect with people that are now on the ground level, man. Because it's so hard. You can go to the Godwara, but the youth ain't connecting with the Gyanis on the Godwara stage. They're not understanding the lingo, the language, and we've been through it ourselves. And that's why you provide a platform, Hari provides a platform, we all provide platforms to try to bridge the gap between the streets and our guru and Sikhi. We're nobodies really, but you just people just to have seeds planted in them. And you're a teacher, and you know the score more better than anybody else, really,
You know,
innit?
it's all good for, we're all in our own little missions, our own little worlds
Yeah,
and bubbles. Everyone crosses paths, and, it is at the end of the day, it is all about Sikhi, regardless what stage you're at.
100%. 100%. So before we start today's talk, man, tell us about your life, how you grew up, where you grew up, what type of family, your background. Is in let's your uni journey, this and that. Just get the people to know you a bit before they embark on your martial arts journey.
Yeah, no worries. A little bit about myself. So originally I'm from Kent, so Medway
Kent.
Town, born and raised in Medway Town, near Chatham. Grew up in Rainham, Parkwood to be precise. Within that area at that time in the so yeah, born in mid 80s. So
Oh,
there weren't that many up in there, let alone there were hardly any Bagwale as well within our area. Within our area that which we live in Parkwood, there was most probably one family, another Sikh family there. There may have been, yeah, there was a Gujarati family who we still talk to, and there
oh
was
wow.
and there was a Muslim family there. So that was all the way most probably up to about the early 90s. Then we had maybe two more pop in our area, and now we've got most probably about 5, 10 in that particular area. It's a very glorified area, very rural, but it was good in a way, but it was tough.
No,
So
yes. So did you
yeah,
have your father from young age? Yeah, good from young
yeah,
age.
I've always had my guess. I've always had my guess in my head.
Yeah. And your
So
daddy, you keep your daddy, or is it trimmed or is it?
yeah, it's trims depending on how I'm feeling and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah. Because I was thinking
Yeah.
it hasn't grown since the teens if you kept it, you know what I
Well, it hasn't grown here since the teens.
mean?
Taken 40 years just to get to here.
No way, because I could tell you never had hair, innit? You haven't,
Yeah,
innit? I
yeah,
could tell.
it doesn't
Yeah,
grow. All here,
yeah.
where it does grow. So
You
when
reckon
it
it's from
grows,
the punches from the martial arts messed up the roots and
yeah, who knows, isn't it? You know, all that conditioning. And
laser without the laser, hey?
yeah, man, you know,
No, no. So the
what
bro,
can I say? So,
that
yeah,
must have been tough, bruv. Because we was in
yeah,
East London and we had it tough, but there's more ethnics. You lot, no go zone, really, innit? To be honest,
yeah. So
them
you
days.
said, you grew up with a Gutti. No, I grew up with a telephone, the two plats over here, because
Yeah.
my family are African. Mum's from
Oh,
Kenya, dad's from Tanzania. So we had the plats, and a story about that last year or so, last year or 2 years ago. I was back at home, parents' house. Sister was there as well. She's got some boys as well. My son and one of her sons, same age, and they're
hmm,
looking at the photos on the stairs, and they're like,
hmm.
"That's mummy, that's Mussy, that's Mamaji, and this one," and it's just like, "Who's this? That's a girl," and it's just
Oh,
like, "What?" And
yeah,
like, and my son's like, "No, no, no, that's my dad. No, no, he looks like a girl, this, that, and the other."
yeah.
And then so my little one, he's like, "Dad, come tell him, he's saying this, he doesn't believe me that this is you." And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And then he's asked me, he's
Hmm,
like, "Mamaji, why did you do that for? Why did you want to look like that?" I'm like, "You know what? Go
hmm.
ask your nanny. Go ask your
Yeah.
nanny why she would want me to have those two good over there and then go
Hmm,
to school and everything in there." And then yeah, so when primary school, same thing, bang, people, you're a girl, or
yeah.
there wasn't much racism then. Uh,
Hmm,
whilst I was in primary school. The main thing, what it was at primary school, there was always bullying, there's always teasing. You would pick on the fat kid, the ginger
yeah.
kid, the freckly kid, because there's always one, wasn't there? Back in the 80s and 90s, or in our area, there would have been a certain majority of them would have been Gorda, and there would have
Yeah.
been one of this, one of that, one of this, one of those. And that would have been like, that's a token in the area. So everybody knew the token. And so everyone would have that distinct thing. With that I end up having my Gutti, Ramal on top. Uh, then went to secondary school. Secondary school, my dad's like, right, you're manning up,
Yeah.
wear a pug. So
Yeah.
whilst at secondary school, I was wearing a Mundiwala pug.
Okay, the starch.
Yeah, yeah,
What did
yeah.
you do? What did you do with Gutti? Was it loosened or was it
Now here,
plaited?
it was all, yeah, yeah, all plaited. I've always
Plaited, yeah,
plaited.
because in case you had a fight, it would obviously come off, wouldn't it? If it
Yeah,
wasn't plaited. Yeah, that's
yeah, yeah,
hard. That's why you could
it will
easily lose a
open up,
fight.
wouldn't it? So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
would open up. So at college, so yeah, school was there. School. Secondary school was okay for the first 2 years. As soon as I hit year nine, that's when it really hit. The racism
No.
from all angles, from everywhere. With some good teachers who got me through it. They helped me, supported me, and then eventually went to college. That's where I started meeting a lot more up in there. We got to get to know each other as well. Afterwards, college, went to university, went in East London. So I was at Queen Mary,
Culture
Mile
shock.
End.
Oh,
So
Mylan.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I was there, yeah, yeah. So I was in the East, living in the East for about at least 4 or 5 years.
wow.
Um,
So you're seeing it then, innit? East is a
yeah,
different sketch, innit? Yeah.
yeah, because we're Kent, even from a young age, I was always going up into Central. As soon as I hit 16 years old, it was like,
Okay.
man, so 16 years old, I was up at Stratford Rex, I was up at SE1, I was up in Hackney, was her Bagley's.
Yeah,
So,
Bagley's, Bagley's.
yeah,
You know about
yeah.
Bagley's? I used to go Bagley's, bro.
So yeah, so that's where I was going out. So yeah, yeah. So that's my we had a traditional sort of upbringing. Mum and dad were like, okay, this is Sikhi. My father, he was very heavily involved and still is in the Gurdwara that's in Medway towns, like the Guru
Oh,
Nanak
Medway
Gurdwara.
Town. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's always heavily involved there. With that. We had our own little kabaddi team there as well, which was good. So we had Medway, Gillingham, Rochester. So we played kabaddi for about 5, 6 years. So that was back in the day. The people we used to look up to, Gigi Kuna. So he was there
Yeah.
and just like bang, we was like, how can we get that good, man? He was an animal back then.
Yeah.
So and then now, if you see, well, I don't know if you follow him or so, the
Yeah.
amount of respect he gets was crazy. And back then, we was meeting people like Dada Singh, Fodja Singh.
God, I think, or for just in you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fodja Singh will come to the venues and just do laps around,
Oh, the one that just passed away. He passed
yeah,
away, innit?
yeah,
God rest
yeah.
his
So
soul.
this was late 90s, early 2000s. So he was just there, just tracking it, and it's like, oh, this Buddha comes every week in every tournament, and he just runs round. He just lap after lap after lap. It's like, geez, why is he doing that for? And he just loved it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's it in a very condensed nutshell. So that's how we grew up. I had to drive to my local up near friends, or I would only when I could drive. Prior to that, it would
Mm.
only be when I went to the Gurdwara
Yeah.
or there was a function or someone
Yeah.
come over. So otherwise, I had no connection with
Yeah.
really any Sikhi apart from my family. When we was there, we
Yeah.
would go out and what was being taught at home.
At
And
home.
then, yeah, anything that was at home because we didn't have it at school. As you're saying, we're at the Gurdwara. You're at that age. It's like, what are these guys saying? Oh, we got a tennis ball. Let's go outside. Let's go play a game
Yeah.
of footy. And
Yeah.
haven't got a tennis ball. Oh, there's a Coke bottle. Let's go fill that up with Barney. Let's smash it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Mess up all that stuff. Yeah.
so we'll link up there, right? Um, and that's really, but we did have Gravesend up the road. So when it was like
Yeah.
Vasaki, it was
Yeah.
always great going up there for the Nugget Kitten, seeing everyone together. Gravesend was a really good hub to go to when we could go there. And then go to
Mm.
the other Nugget Kittens in Southwold and Birmingham and Wolverhampton at that sort of time because that's where we'd have family. So we were good when we see family. That's where my main interaction with being brown, being Indian, being a Sikh came into more of being a play because there's some hard
Yeah.
that we never really had to deal with. We never had to deal with um, the Muslims coming after our women in Kent at that point in time. We never
Uh-huh.
had to deal with that. However, it was pure racism. You're the
Sure.
only one there. You would have to deal with it. You have to deal with the violence. You would have to deal with, okay, you know what? If I'm going out, uh, yeah, I what was it? So I started karate about at the age of 7, and then eventually I would walk down. So I'd walk a mile and a half down through town,
Yeah.
go to the local church, pay my £2,
Yeah.
and then eventually it got to a stage. You walk past the park and it's like, oi, Packy,
Yeah.
oi, what are you doing? It's like, fucking hell, look at you wearing your pajamas.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
people asking for trouble, and it's just like,
Oh, there
And
was no CCTV, bro. They didn't
you get
care.
no
No one got
CCTV.
caught them times.
Yeah, yeah, you could get away with anything, and then
Yeah,
eventually you turn around and go, you know what? I need to be carrying something. That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
only way, because there's only me in those sorts of
yeah,
environments. My mates take at least 20 minutes to get to me.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it was. So I've sort of been brought up with that. You know what? I have to rely on myself. No one's going to look after me. No one's going to take care of me when shit hits the fan. I have to be there for
Mm,
me. And if I'm not in that condition, then who knows what's going to happen. So that's a little bit about, yeah, very brief background. So I grew up in Kent.
mm.
Uh, yeah, mum and dad, got a couple of sisters who are older than me. I'm the youngest in my family.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, we grew up. We were always taken to the Gurdwara. Dad would always do that. We went through our phases where we'll sit down and we'll do reras. Dad,
Oh,
mum and dad
wow.
would tell us about Sikhi, always trying to empower us as well, with these sorts of things. But they're parents in that day and age, so they did the best job which they could do and provide
Yeah.
the services that
It
they
will,
could.
our people were very simple back then, innit? The parents.
Yeah,
They didn't know much about anything. There's very simple people, hardworking, simple. They, would they be part of Nanaksar, you think? Because most of the Africans were following Nanaksar at the time, innit? Sant Isha Singh and all that. You heard of them?
my nanny was
Yeah.
my nanny loved him,
Yeah,
so she
yeah,
was
yeah.
really
I thought
big on
so.
him.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that would have been a great big influence for your family, to be honest, your nanny. Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyone joined with
None
Sant
was,
Isha Singh, they're
yeah,
quite
my
religious.
baby was as well. So it's interesting with those guys. It's so my Nunni, she got to about 103,
Bloody
and
hell.
then my no, Bibi got to 103. Nunni got to about 98. With my Bibi, she's got six sisters,
Yeah.
and it's known from her town, her Bind, the women would live up to at least 100 years old. It was known. There was something in the water. In where their care was, the women would always live very, very, very long.
Mm.
And they played a very big influence in our lives. They would spend summer holidays with us, Christmas holidays. We'll spend it with them as well. They'll take us here, they'll take us there. And then it's interesting to see what two worlds they were from, even though they were the same generation. When partition happened, my Bibi and my Pita, they were in Karachi. So they got the word, bang, they go, look, we have to go. They're like, we left the dial on the stove, we picked up all our jewelry, a couple of clothes, a little bit of food and pani, bang, we jumped on a train to Jaipur, and then, we saw crazy stuff until we got to Amritsar. We got to Amritsar and it was crazy. And she would tell us about these stories. She's like, look, you don't know what's going on, how this was, what we had to go through. But she would tell us some of the stuff. And then when I asked my nunni on, what did you do during partition? She
Mm.
was in the job. Her response was, she was like, nothing. We didn't know about it. I was getting married on that day.
Mm.
And I was like,
Yeah.
what? Yeah, because how does the news spread?
Oh yeah,
If
there's no internet,
it
no
doesn't affect
WhatsApp.
you, you're not going to hear about it.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So to have those, one that went through all that, and the other one was like,
Yeah,
I was getting married.
yeah. They don't have a clue.
Yeah, people in different worlds. So that's a little bit uh, about me. I can go a little bit more about secondary school. So yeah, so going to
Yeah,
secondary school, started there. I went there with my pug, so everybody knew me with my kutti on top. Then I
yeah,
came in with a Mandi Walla pug, and then just wearing it, it was a bit weird. I was embarrassed. So I got 1,200 boys around me. I went to all boys school in the middle of a
yeah.
council estate. Next door, we had an all girls school with 1,200 girls as well. Uh, so it's like, what's going on there? So, uh, so with the school itself, is like, I'm going there. I'm like, I've got no other things. There's no other Asians. And eventually, within the first few weeks, I started to get to know some of the Asians in the other years. There were things, and one of them, well, two of them said to me, they're like, Singh, uh, we had our guests. We
Mm,
cut it. Just cut it. You're not going to last here. You're not going to
mm.
last. Just cut it and you'll be okay. And it's just like, fuck. Wow. I was like, no, what's the worst that can happen to me? And
Mm.
prior to that, whenever people would say anything to me, with some of the stuff my parents, the sakya that they were telling me about back then, my mum would always influence us me from a young age with the shorter side story.
Wow.
She's like, if you're ever scared, don't worry, they'll brick up alive. Just say Waiguru. Just say Waiguru.
100.
You,
This
you
is the
know,
power of our history, innit? Power
yeah,
of our
yeah,
history.
exactly. It's like, so you're going, so I'm like, why am I going to cut my hair for getting punched and kicked and sworn at, be dealing with racial abuse just so I can stop that? Because at the end of the day, I can't change my skin color. I can't
Nah.
change who my family is.
Yeah.
That's not going to change anything. It's like, if I'm saying I have to cut my hair to survive that, these two boys were happy to get bricked up alive
Mm.
for their guru, for their fun, to set the
Mm.
standard. Go, look, we can do this. And that's one story that from my mum, she would tell us, and it stuck with me. Especially during like primary years, it wasn't as much. I didn't have much influence, but when it came to secondary school, I was like, yeah, you know what? My ancestors, the people who've been there before me, have been through a lot. What are my problems? My problems are nothing.
Mm.
And so end up doing that. And then when it came to hit year 9, that's where a lot of it was happening. People knew that I had a Monday while I bug. So, he was like a trophy. Let's knock his turban off. Let's walk behind him. Bang. Let's do this. What you're going to do. There's only you. There's all us. And then eventually he was like, right, fuck this. Um, I started wearing big goddess.
Mm.
Nowadays I only wear a collar that big. I'm like, what
Yeah.
can I do to prevent it? They all knew I carried a salai as well, so there's a little bit hesitant about that. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, so then when I started wearing the big goddess, that wasn't until about halfway through year 10.
Year 10. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so it was a good, solid academic year of all of that. And then I had no other Asian friends to back me up because they were all money, they were doing their own things. All
Yeah.
my mates were go there. And it's just like, well, they didn't really stick up for me or say anything. And I was like, well, then they're not really my friends,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
they were just acquaintances, even though, we'll meet up, we'll walk to school
Yeah.
together, we'll walk home together, we'll sit there, we'll play PlayStation, N64,
Oh yeah.
we'll go to the park, we'll go to the cinema, and do these things. But it's just like, well, where are you? Where are you in that time of need? And it's like, you're nowhere.
Yeah, but
And so,
these are the same guys that cut their hair to protect themselves, so they're not gonna get in trouble for you because they had to cut their hair, so they don't get in trouble, innit?
yeah,
One
yeah,
of them
exactly.
ones, innit?
Boarded up and there
So it's
was
hard.
there was one older bunda who did keep
Yeah,
his, but then we never gelled for whatever reason. He was a year
yeah,
11, I was a year
yeah.
7. There's no gelling.
Nah.
So it's like, but yeah, so it's like, right, it's not my problem. So it's like, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna have to deal with it.
Gore were hard
So
as well, bro. They used to go boxing and everything. Gore back in them days, they were tough. I know.
yeah, yes, they would, they'll get beaten at home, they'll get beaten
Yeah,
in the gym, they'll fight on the streets and
yeah.
whatnot.
They're not
And
scared. They weren't scared.
uh, and then yeah, and then also it was coming off that football firm era as well. So you still had that pent up rage of the firm era. So where people are going
Yeah.
together, these go to here, at primary school, we was talking about, oh, don't get lippy to me, I'll give you a Chelsea smile.
Chelsea Smart. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we knew about that sort of, the kids all, we knew about, what was going on here and there. Um, and then some of the things that sort of got me through school, yes, the Sakya did that. My parents taught me. And it's like, this is who I am. I don't want to cut my hair. I don't identify as someone without no guess. And then the other thing, there was two really good influential people at my
Mm,
school. One was my head of year. One was my
mm.
English teacher. Both of them go there. Both of them
Oh,
will
wow.
go there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good and bad in everybody, innit?
Yeah. And this is one thing what I liked about being in Kent at that particular time as well. Uh, so with my head of year, so when I was getting bullied, people stealing my stuff, doing this, constantly doing, I was like, how much of this can I take? How much violence do I want to engage in, or do I want to try and prevent?
Mm.
right? Because I don't want to be, it's not nice. No one likes doing it. Even now, when I'm sparring, it's just like, yeah, sometimes it's good to get punched in the face. You want to punch in the face.
Mm.
But other times, like, you know what, why do we? It's petty. It's petty.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real need for that. But whatever the reason they did it, they did it. Whatever issues was, that was my hookup. So I
Mm.
accept with those things. So with my head of year, um, but I went on the third time, he literally turned around to me. He's like, Rick, you know what? You are not coming to me again. I'm not going to accept you coming to me. I'm like, why? 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 He's just like, look, your people during
Mm.
World War II did
Mm.
X, Y, Z, bish, bash, bosh. He told me. I was like, wow. I'm like, you know what? I've never heard those stories. I'm like,
Mm.
why is a Gora teaching me about Sikh history from World War II? No one did it. The only thing I knew about Sikhs in World War II was that there was a veteran who would come to the Gurdwara. He would wear his medals proudly,
Mm.
be in regalia, bang, come down every Sunday. He served, he did his time, he would wear his medal with pride. And it's like, wow, this Baba Buddha, served, bang, walked around with a cane. And I was just like, okay, okay. He was a skinhead Gunja as well. So
Mm.
skinhead, proper red. He had a ginger daddy as well. So you, he was just like, look, people picked on me for being a ginger, and now I'm a skinhead and all this. He's like,
Oh,
look,
so he gets it, innit? Yeah.
yeah. He's just like, look, your people have done great things. This is
Mm.
nothing. You will figure out a way how to handle it. And it's just like, okay, cool. And then that year, I had a really good English teacher as well. So his backstory, what we would have a lot of banter with him. He gained a lot of respect from us boys. 1,200 boys in a boys' school, full of testosterone. You know, everyone just wants, you want girls, you want to
Mm.
fight, you want to do something, you're just bent it up, so it comes out in all different ways at that
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of age, and he really didn't take any shit from any of us.
Mm.
And so one of the stories that he divulged in was he's like, you know what? He's like, what you guys are doing is nothing. These
Mm.
problems, whatever you're going on, but you're picking on each other and whatnot, was nothing. Um, and then he tells us, he's like, yeah, so I was in the motorbike gang. I was like, oh, okay. So all our ears pricked up. And he was
Mm.
just like, yeah, told us how many years he was doing it and didn't digress too much. But the
Mm.
story he told us was like, okay, you're a bit of a fucking badass, aren't you? You're a
Mm.
badass.
Mm. Mm.
We should really trifle with you. So the
Yeah.
story was because he was part of that motorbike gang, they have their own
Oh,
conduct, their
yeah.
own way
Outlaws, innit?
to
They
live
call them
by.
the one percenters, don't they?
Yeah,
One percenters.
exactly. They don't care about the law.
Mm.
They, if they get caught, they get caught. They're going to
Yeah.
do whatever they need to do
Yeah.
to make money. To get there's a means to an end for everything.
Yeah.
With that. And he was just like, yeah, so he's like, we had a protocol. It's
Mm.
like if you were to do something with another guy's girl,
Mm.
how you get revenge?
Mm.
There's two ways. You could either stab him and kill him,
Mm. Mhm.
or you could go and put a steel rod in between, in between their front wheel of their bike as they're riding at a high
Wow.
speed. And he's like, the risk is if you kill them, you don't know if they're boys. You need to agree it. You need to agree
Mm.
to that fight, that knife fight. So you got it. So no
Okay.
one comes after you. So whatever done is done. And the other one was like, if you was going to put that fight in that front wheel of the motorbike,
Yeah.
it's either going to work or you're going to get your arm torn off.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
like, and we're like, whoa, what happened to you then? Because clearly you ain't got your arm torn off. Did you kill it? Did you kill the guy or what? He's like, nah. He's like, I stuck it in there, bang. He cracked his head open, and then he's like, look, a couple of months later, I just realised that this life is just too much. There's too much risk for this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a lot more calmer life, and that's why
Yeah.
he got teaching. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, wow. To know he had done that level of violence. He must have had a lot of anger pent it up into him. A
Mm.
lot of frustration, um, that insecurity. You've done this to my girl. It's
Yeah.
revenge. It's revenge. And then my last teacher in my year 10 and 11 teacher in history. He was the bullying had calmed down then.
Yeah.
But what he did, because we was doing our GCSEs then, he's like, Rick, what I want you to do is do your project, your year 10 project and year 11 project for you to pass your GCSE in history is to do it on Sikhs and Indians in World War II. I want you to go through
Okay.
Burma. I want you to learn about Singapore. I want you to read this book, read that book. Give
Mm.
me information. I was like, okay, and I was like, I will. So, and that was really interesting seeing those campaigns and how they do. Then afterwards, that a lot of the bullying stops. The border were like, "What's happened?" They're like, "Why are you standing up for yourself? Why can't we manipulate you? Why are you no
Yeah.
longer fighting back? Why are you no longer crying? Why are you no longer running away?" And it's just like, bang, it takes time. Flipping this. Sometimes you can flip that switch, bang, instantly. Other times you have to build it. Does this
Nah.
work? How did this work? What was the feedback loop? If I did something,
Mm.
didn't it work? And it's just like, right, what was the correct method to do that? And because I had no one to discuss it with either, no one to tell people, this is what I'm going through. What can I do? Can you come with me? Can you walk with me to the class here? Can you do here? Oh shit, I've got this stolen from me. Oh, they stole my Walkman. No one's giving it back. Now they want to fight. Now there's four of them here. Um, there was even a case like in year 7 that really pissed me off. Um, this is when they started to introduce, or year 8, I think it's year 8, when they started to introduce PSE, personal health and sexual
Oh
education.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
played a video.
I remember PNC.
Yeah, they played a video in
Yeah.
class, and they spoke about obviously sex and all those sorts of things, and they're like, this is a penis and everything, and go, this is a foreskin. Like
Yeah.
some people get their foreskin cut off, and it's like, okay, and they're like, some
Yeah.
people get their foreskin cut off for religious reasons. And
Yeah.
and as soon as I heard that, I'm like, God, I know what's going to happen now. I know what's going to
Yeah.
happen in an all boys school, and I've got boys asking me to pull it out, show us. We want to see you. I'm like, I ain't cut. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Jew. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
do the
just
Jews
like,
cut? Do the Jews cut foreskin as well?
yeah, Jews, yeah, but yeah, they're circumcised, aren't they? So circumcision
Oh
is
wow, I
those
didn't know that.
mainly those two groups. So
Oh, you
so
learn
that,
something
that
new
was
every day, man.
that. Those sorts of insecurities and sorts of stuff. Um, you know, for me, that's made me into me. All these hardships, everything I've been through, it's made me into me. I'm gonna say, I
Yeah,
never
same
wanted it.
as.
Yeah, I'm like, look, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have had the experiences I
Yeah.
am today. We may not even be talking today without this.
No, because when you make a blade, the best blades go through the hardest forging, don't they? So
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
yeah,
so
the
you
tempering,
you
yeah,
can't be hardened without going through shit. You know what I mean? If you look at a lot up on it, they got it cozy, and you can see from the butti, the aura that they're victims, and they could be even when they're in the 30s, very soft, too
yeah,
soft,
yes,
and because
definitely, definitely.
they've not had a problem. So when they hear conversations like this, they're gonna say, "Nah, racism doesn't exist," because they
Yeah,
some
definitely.
up
Yeah,
in here are like because it hasn't happened to them, it doesn't exist. It doesn't happen.
yeah, definitely. And,
It's
and
straight.
the words that were coming out. So this just weren't Packy, Raghead,
Yeah.
Ticos, all the usual stuff. These go there will call me the N word. They'll call me a wog. I was like, I'm not that complexion.
Yeah.
We don't care. We don't care, you dirty Arab. And it's just like, so
Yeah, it's Kent,
every,
bruv. Kent was a different level, man. Kent
every
is
slur
probably the
would
most
come out.
racist gore in the country would be Kent, to be honest, at them
Yeah,
times.
we would have, was it Dagenham just up the road as well. So
Dagenham was a no-go zone, bro. You couldn't walk through Dagenham.
yeah,
You just couldn't.
exactly.
You would get stabbed. We
Yeah,
all knew that. We're from East London, and we knew, Dagenham was a
yeah,
no-go.
Dagenham
I had
won't
to
push
go
me
past
out.
there a
Yeah,
couple of
wasn't great.
times, and you shit your pants. Even Raynham was rough as well, bro.
Yeah,
Romford was rough. I don't know if you heard of Romford, innit? That's not too far from you
yeah,
guys.
yeah, exactly. All those, you had Circus Tavern back up there as well. Used to go there. So that's the bit about my background.
No,
We're there.
interesting,
Then we
man.
got
It's good. It's good. It's good to
um,
know it really, because it's important part of your journey of what you're up to now and stuff. So you're married now. How many kids you got, bro?
yeah, just got the one boy.
One boy.
So
How old is he?
so he's 6 years old. So he's
Six
good.
years old.
Yeah.
So you live? Are you living with your parents and that, or you
No,
just
no.
separate?
So afterwards uni, I couldn't adjust to home life. So I
Okay.
worked out. I got married. My job at that time was over in Slough. My missus is just from outside Slough. So it's like there's no point in me
Oh,
getting married and going to live with my parents because my job's up here, her job's up here. Since then, I've been over in these areas, over in West.
okay. So you're in Slough now, because that's what I saw. Slough. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Nah. Quite a few up in there, innit? Do you go? Which Godora? Do you go to Godora there then?
yeah. So we got pretty good there,
Yeah.
which is good. We got Rangaria, we got Singh Sabha and Guru Manya Grant. So there's always programs going on, which is good. Like this week, because summer holidays happened. Guru Manya Grant, they got a Khalsa sea camp
Camp.
going on. Then
Yeah.
next week, the Khalsa school here, they got their Khalsa camp as well. You got all these things, and it's like, you know what? When I first got here, I was like, this is a concrete jungle. I don't like
Yeah.
it. It's too many Indians, too many
Yeah.
Asians, too many of this, too much politics and all that, which I wasn't
Yeah.
used to.
Not
I,
used to it. Yeah.
I was exposed to it at uni because there was a lot of Asians, but I could always retreat to my own little cave and go, look, I don't have to deal with that. I can chill out with the Gordhead, my Garland mates, my other foreign friends and whatnot. And then when I came here, I was just like, I didn't like it. Now, eventually, I was like, you know what? I'm glad I'm here. There's so much opportunity here, and it's just not when it comes to work or logistics. Yeah, we've got the M4, the M25, M40. Go
Yeah.
anywhere, Heathrow and everything. But when it comes to Sikki, there's a lot of stuff that has come from this town. This
Yeah.
area is a hub. There's so much stuff from '84 that these guys still keep doing. They still keep pumping. You got Carside, they're from this local area. You got all these
Mm.
other guys as well. So it's just like, wow. There's so much going on. It is a Sikhi hub. So to
No,
me,
it is. Yeah, it's
there's several hubs of Sikhi within the country. So, so if you got West, if you're saying outside of London, West London or outside West, definitely Slough. Do you go into London, Southall, you would have that area. You got East, you got your area, Ilford, Seven Kings, and all those over there.
yeah, barking and that.
Then you go Midlands. Birmingham's always been that hub. Wolverhampton, the amount of stuff they've got there going on now. Telford, these sorts of areas. There's it's popping off. There shouldn't be an excuse anymore that I don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
We've all got these computer phones in our pocket. They're listening to us all the time. They're watching whatever we do. They know
Yeah,
the algorithms. If we're not looking, going, what program's going on here? What's going on there? Then it's us that are then failing to commit to Sikhi. Sikhi's
yeah,
there. People are pushing it.
yeah. True. ChatGPT did so much things. The resources are all online, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. That's enough about the background. Let's get into the part two now. Any
Yeah.
questions, anybody? People always coming and off, but people when
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna leave,
Please
I
do.
always,
Please do.
oh yeah, I always leave the lives on anyway, so the viewings like just stack up on the live
Yeah.
when we leave it on. Friday night, people are gonna be clubbing and that, innit? But tell us the only time we
It's all
have
right.
available.
It's all right. That's what you do when you're young and
Yeah, yeah.
and you want to enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Uncle Matt said, tell him off.
Yeah.
Nah, the whole aim is, bro, just to teach them from our mistakes. But
Yeah.
experience is the best teacher, brother.
Definitely.
Experience
Definitely.
is the best teacher. Your experience, you're teaching people from your experience. You can tell them, my mum told me 100 things, yeah, which are just one ear out the other. And when I
Cool.
went through them, I was like, damn, shit,
Yeah.
she was right. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And you
And
know
she was
what?
saying,
We're
but
doing this to our kids now.
yeah,
And it's like,
she was
come
saying,
on, clock on. If you clock on now, you will
yeah,
be better. But they're not.
they're
When
not.
they're ready, they'll clock on.
Yeah, it's like your mum said, you'll find out when you have your own kids, innit? It's true, innit? You're not
Yeah.
listening to me now, but you'll find out when you have your own kids, be worried with this, with that. It's not easy, bro. Parenting is hard. Marriage is not that easy. A lot of challenges. There's a lot going on in society. Work pressure, this pressure, that pressure, spirituality. This is where your work comes into it. So, right, bro. Question one now. What inspired you to begin your journey into martial arts, and how did it evolve into teaching others from kids to adults?
Oh, okay, great. So with that, so it always interested me to do those sorts of
Mm,
things, but I never took real action into, going, Dad, can you take me here, take me do that? With that, I'll just go with the flow. I was happy go lucky with that.
mm,
Uh, I was a very hyperactive kid,
mm,
so I had a lot of energy. Then my parents, they took me to the doctor. This was
mm.
before the days that they would have diagnosed ADHD. They're like, look,
Yeah,
he's just got unchanneled energy. He's unfocused. They go, look, get him into some sort of sport and activity. So my dad got me into karate and also
yeah.
swimming at the time. So
Oh,
we'll
that's
go
cool.
down. Yeah, so started off with Shotokan karate. It must be 7 years old. So we'll go down there, local church hall, did that. Went through all the belts, got my first Dan through the system as well. Uh, but it was mainly um, kata based. So we just doing all
Okay.
our forms. So there wasn't much combat. We did a little bit of sparring, but there wasn't really anything there. It was good, but it taught me discipline. Taught me discipline. It got me fit. And it's just and one of the things that sort of, as I got into my early teens, because I did it for 7 years. Yeah, so I started at
Mm,
7 years old and I stopped about 13, 14 years old
okay.
with that. And one of my things was during that period, uh, I had a few uh, interactions and scuffles, shall we say.
Yeah,
And some people that are with like, yeah, Rick knows karate. He's this man. He's this belt. Yeah, you don't want to fuck
yeah,
with him. And it's just like, and they're speaking on my behalf, right?
yeah, yeah,
And it's just like, okay, and I was like, okay, bang, and you get punched in the face, kicked in the balls, I
yeah,
was like, I've never dealt with a kick to the balls in this and that. My cat doesn't teach me this. This happened. I got sucker punched from behind. You know, I'm expecting there should be one person, but yet there was three, four,
yeah.
right?
Streets are different to karate.
Yeah, to martial arts. To martial arts, they are different, yes. And I was just like,
Yeah,
you know what? I was like, I've spent 7 years learning this. I've had my ass
yeah,
worked or it didn't work,
yeah. It didn't
right?
work. Yeah,
Or if it did work, well, if I did win that particular thing, or I thought I won, it wasn't karate that did it. It wasn't one of
yeah.
my moves that I would have learned from there. Yeah,
Nah.
it would have been something really random, really scruffy, and it's like you call that a punch? No. You call that a kick? No. Poor form, right? So got into that. Then I fell out of it. Then we started up kabaddi. So from the age of 14 till about 20, we played kabaddi. Was going
Yeah,
around the country every Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, up to Derby, up to Telford. We'll be in the East. We'll be all over the country, Bristol. 14 years old. We was going Belgium. We was going Germany as well. Competing in World Cups at that time in tournaments. So at that age, I must have been about 5'5", 5'6". And I'm going up against fully grown men. We had juniors teams. There's only a few of us. The only other junior team that we had really was the Erith boys, Erith and Woolwich. So now you got the barking lot, which is good. So their elders will come down and train with us when we were that age. So we were training with them. And then so we'll do that. Then eventually that sort of fizzled out with that. Then I went to university, went to Queen Mary in East London, so Mile End, Whitechapel, Stepney, Stratford area. So I was like, you know what? I can handle myself now, but there's a lot of knife crime. And with that,
yeah.
I
East London was,
didn't have
yeah,
a clue. I was like, I don't mind 2, 3 bun there and whatnot. If I get
yeah,
beaten up, boom, fisticuffs, yeah, Jalu. But weapons, blades, no. Nothing had equipped me through that.
yeah,
My karate training hasn't. Obviously, my kabaddi didn't because that's all grappling and
yeah,
wrestling that we're doing there. And I was like, okay, you know what? I need to find an art. So first of all, we had a Muay Thai gym there, so that's where I learned my Muay Thai KO kickboxing at the Bethnal Green
yeah.
Arches.
Okay,
So
wow, yeah, yeah,
so we were there. And then so I started up Gutka at Harley Grove with Baba Singh Gutka Akara. So I did that
Oh,
for a number of
yeah,
years. So I was there whilst I was at uni. That was the main goal that I was going to. Is always
yeah.
there.
Bowl,
You know, when
bowl,
the
yeah,
fire, yeah, when the fire happened as well. That was a tragedy. What was
yeah.
not,
We were there as well.
but they've rebuilt it so beautifully. It's good. It's good there.
I haven't
And
seen it. I haven't seen the rebuilt. I haven't seen the rebuilt version now.
okay,
I remember the fire, but people said it was a Gala, so I knew all the Gala gangs and that. After it was not, then people said it's an inside insurance job and this and that. We'll
yeah,
never know the
yeah,
truth in
that's
it,
what
but
I heard. How are they getting? How do they
yeah,
know
but
where
for a
they're
random
up
Gala to walk into such kind, even I didn't know where such kind is. It doesn't add up.
to?
So that definitely something suspicious.
Yeah,
Something.
yeah, exactly. It is what
Sad
it
though.
is. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad,
Yeah,
but they've come out better and stronger from it, which is good. You know,
yeah,
so I took up Gutka with those guys, and then I was like, okay, this is good, but then I was like, I need something different. And prior to that, whilst being at college, there was a series called Mind, Body, and Kick-Ass Moves with Chris Cadelli. So I
okay.
used to watch that religiously. I downloaded the whole entire series from LimeWire and I had it on my laptop. And every time I'll be eating, I'll be watching an episode. And I
Yeah,
was just like, oh, this is an interesting art. And then one of these guys, one of the things at uni was like, yeah, there's this guy who teaches a screamer. I was like, what's that? And he's like,
yeah,
remember, we were talking about this on that on your mind body kick ass. I was like, oh yeah, this is teaching. I was like, okay, that's cool. In this sort of time, this was when um, this must have been about 2005. So in
yeah,
2005, 2006. And this was when you had, people going, oh, it's just a video. It's just a video. Bam, bam. There's this guy here. You had the Nadal and Deji fight on that blurry,
yeah.
grainy video. And it's just like, oh my God, no, don't do this. Don't do that. This is what you want to
Mm,
do. And I was like, you know what? I'm staying away out of all these politics. I'm
yeah,
happy training with my guys in my Gatka. I'm going to learn the Filipino arts. And since 2006, I've stuck with that. I've absolutely stuck. I'm like, you know what? There's so much value in there with that. My instructor, so I was trained with the head of the system, which is Guru Krishna Godania up in Warwick. So I'm trained with him consistently as well. And then train with other guys. I'm always topping up. Even today, I still go out and train with people because I know my learning is never done. Uh,
yeah,
so was that, yeah, so started picking up that there, just did those sorts of things, trained it afterwards uni, sort of put down the Muay Thai, but I was still dabbling in doing my Filipino arts and just doing my Gutka as well. So I was like, right, I was doing that. Then afterwards we got married,
yeah,
and then eventually I was just having a random conversation, and it's like, yeah, could you start teaching? I was like, look, I don't teach. Right? So I started just teaching ad hocly, private lessons. People just want to know bits and bobs here and there, nothing consistent or anything. And then eventually, it was in 2019. I was like, right, bang, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to start teaching. But I had my day job. So I was like, right, I'm going to do it in the evening, go 2 days a week, and then I'll take it from there. So afterwards so I started teaching. And then as I launched my first program was a ladies only kickboxing program. It was the
okay.
week before COVID. So the first week was with each other, bang, lockdown. And it's just like, what are we supposed to do? What are we
Mm,
supposed to do? I've just spent all this money, all this investment, and it's just like, right, okay, let's try out this Zoom thing. Let's try out all these let's what's the other one? Skype, you know.
Skype,
Uh,
yeah, Skype.
yeah, how do we do this? And then prior to that, I was doing kids as well. So I had a little kids class going, and then the ladies was like, bang, everything went online, and I didn't know how to do it, and then they all just dropped off. And I was like, you know what, I'm not going to teach. And people were like, look, can you teach? And what? I'm like, look, I do bits and bobs. So I was teaching out my garage for a while. So I was like, right, we'll do it here. And then eventually, most probably about 2.5 years ago, two and a half, yeah, just over 2.5 years after the second lockdown was
Yeah,
third lockdown. I ended up buying a franchise, a martial arts franchise. I was like, look, no, I'll be teaching enough, let's do it here. Let's see what they got. I've known the people who's doing it. So I bought their franchise. And with that, they had kids programs, ladies programs, men's programs, mixed programs, teams programs. So they showed me the structure of how to run a martial arts school.
Oh
And I
wow.
was like, okay, this is cool. Franchise didn't work, lesson learned, which is fine. And then eventually I was like, okay, bang, I'm going to go into my Warriors again. Bang, let's go into my Warriors. And then since then, I just been teaching. But afterwards, the franchise uh, had been cut off. I'm like, I'm no longer teaching kids. I don't want to teach kids. I don't have a passion or the aptitude or the patience to teach them. I just want to teach adults. And then eventually I was like, right, teaching the adults. And then I was like, you know what? I know I can connect with teens. Yeah, then as I was connecting with the teens, uh, the guys, they started up the JSRA boxing. They're like, look, can you teach the boxing to the kids and the teens? I was like, kids, teenagers, I don't
Mm.
mind because I know I can, if they get lippy, I know I'm just going to put them in their place. Kids,
Yeah.
it's a different ball game. It's a different
Yeah.
ball game.
Different movement. Yeah.
And then eventually I was like, okay, cool. And then it just evolved out of that. It's just from there, it's just like, you know what, I want to do. So last year I launched my 4 to 6 year old program, my Little Warriors, whereas prior was that I only had my juniors. So it's from 7 to 11 because the guys that end up coming with me through the franchise, they got to know me, I got to know them. And I was like, you know what, I can actually be myself with them. I don't have to tone it down. They will take it. If they got mouthy, I could put them in their place how I would want to, where and how they would need to as well. And they had that respect. And then we was going with kids, and then now it's like, yeah, I've got my kids, I have my juniors, I have my teens, I have my ladies, I have my mix, I have my own the screamer self defense programs. Then I also teach the boxing, the JSRA boxing teens and kids as well. So I've got all these different programs that we're teaching there, and then I absolutely love it.
It's all in Slough, yeah.
All in Slough,
South
yeah,
London.
all in Slough. So people do so. I do seminars and workshops wherever I need to go, and then if people want privates and so, they're more than happy.
No, excellent. Is it full time now? Or are you doing a day job as well? Or are you just doing this full time? Was it?
I contract during the day, so and then I teach in the evenings.
Oh, double whammy, yeah.
Yeah,
Part, Jello man is for the benefit, innit?
yeah,
Work
exactly.
hard now,
It's not
retire
easy,
earlier.
but it's a passion.
Yeah. So number two is so is martial arts more than just training? If so, was there a pivotal moment which made you realize that's just more than training for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So,
Mm.
um, I gave you the example of, when I did karate, got my first stand and realized, you know what,
Mm.
it's nothing for me. I got my ass
Yeah,
whooped.
yeah,
It's meaningless
yeah,
with that. And then eventually it was like starting to get to know what what sort of art should I train? So the scream was fantastic to learn.
yeah.
It's exposing me to this. There's Krav Maga. There's people come now with these other different combative systems. You had the old urban combatives in their own little field over there. People going, yeah, you know what? This is how you just get the job done with these sorts of things. And then it started going down, the combatives route. And it's like, okay, the
Mm.
combatives route, it's like, well, that's not martial art. It's definitely self-defense because it's all
Yeah,
preemptive. It's all you go, you do the job. It's mainly for, when you're on the door. People are on the door. You're working in prison, security and whatnot, and you have to be physical. It's your job to be physical.
100%.
You are going to to going in there. You're putting yourself at risk with that. Then as time has progressed, my mindset has really evolved, and then it's gone more into the psychology of violence now. I'm not fussed about learning what's the latest technique, what's the latest system, what's the latest punch I can
Mm.
do, what's the latest tactic or
Mm.
strategy that what's going to get me out, Um, Bob back in the day, bro. Yes, definitely. Back. And yeah, he's always got the hood on. You need to train how you're going to fight as well. Got hoodlums, they need to have hoods on. No, you're not going to train in a gi, or you're not going to fight someone in a gi unless you're in the ring or on the mats. You know, that's how you should be training for your environmental stuff. So it's going into
True.
that psychology, and it's like, you know, what happens, you know, with the fight. I was like, you know, sometimes, you know, I didn't fight back. Why didn't I fight back? What was going in my head? Why was I scared? Why did I freeze? You know, why
Mm.
did I go to flight mode and not fight mode? Or why did I go to freeze mode? You know, why did I ask the person, why did um I asked a question, why are you
Mm.
hitting me? You know, why is the guy
Mm.
hitting me? Boom, you know. And he was like, you know, I've been given all these sorts of scars. You know, I was whilst growing up. You know, my father was like, look, avoid getting into fights. You know, my mum was like, if they need to be hit, hit them. You know, just do it. Do whatever you need to. My sister's on the
Yeah.
other. Don't hit anyone. Don't fight. My friends, don't fight. Never be the first person to hit someone. Never hit a
Mm.
person with glasses. Never do this. Never do that. You know, it's always don't. I was like, and so I'd been preconditioned. You know,
Yeah.
even though I,
Yeah.
even though I'm training to punch, to kick, to block,
But
to parry, to do
this
all this.
is.
Yeah, my mindset, which I didn't
Mm.
realize, had been preconditioned not to do those things.
Yeah.
Right?
This
Not to
is the
hit
most
back.
powerful weapon,
Um,
bro. Mm.
yeah, I'm going to get told off. Teacher's going to tell me off. Police are going to arrest me. I'm going to have to
Yeah.
fork out bail. I'm going to have to do all these sorts of things, right? So I was preconditioned as I was like, you know, how do I overcome this? And then, you know, this is what, you know, being with Krishna, he was like, look, you know, read this, that. And then we're going over with some certain other guys, with that, you know, who was, what's his name? George. What's his fucking name? I can't remember. One sec. Let me get the book. What's his name? There you go. Boom. Sorry. Had to just look at my notes. Jeff
Yeah.
Thompson. So there's a
Jeff
guy, Jeff.
Thompson. I read his
Boom.
book in prison, bro. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Mate, he changed
He's
my
got it up.
thinking.
Yeah, it changed,
That,
in
that,
it.
that mindset, you know, the 3 second fight, Animal Day, and all that sort of stuff. It was
Yeah,
like,
preemptive strike and all that. Because people don't know when you get punched, you can die, bro, or you can go blind or brain damage. It's not
yeah,
about getting punched. Up when they're
yeah,
like, let them hit me first, then I can fight back,
yeah.
then I won't get in trouble from the law. That is the most fuddle thinking, bro. Because
It's
that
not
one
even that.
punch, you're. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. It's like you say, yeah, exactly. That could knock you straight away. And the next thing is, it's like, okay, let them hit you first. What about if they stab you first? Yeah.
Even a punch
What?
can kill, bro. How many
Yeah.
times do you read on the news? One punch death, one punch
Yeah.
death. Or I
Exactly.
could,
And it
bro, my
happens.
mates have hit someone, eyeballs have fallen out, bro. Or people have
Yeah.
been brain damaged, bro. Like, it's not about getting hit first. If you think the person's gonna hit you, either you're
Read.
gonna run away if you're not about it, or you're gonna knock them out, and you gotta make sure you neutralize that threat, man, because it's a
Yeah.
threat.
Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly. So then yeah, as you're saying there, that takes you into a different mentality. That takes you into that combatives because they're on
Yeah,
the job, and especially, you know, with Jeff being in Coventry and that era, he was on the
it's rough.
doors. They
It's
had,
rough.
yeah, they had to, man. I remember hearing stories like that when I was young. I grew up with those stories. So I was like, you know, going out, I was like a little bit wary, but that stuff wasn't actually happening when I started going clubbing or going out and so. But there was still violence. There was still all these little things, all the other things. But it
Yeah,
wasn't,
scuffles, isn't it? Always
yeah, so,
scuffles
so
in
it
club.
wasn't to that sort of extent. And then eventually, you know, the way in which my mentality has now evolved, or my mindset, it's why am I training? Not even that. Why are you coming to me to train? Right?
Mm.
What is it? What do you need to do? You know, have you had to deal with violence? Now you have to train me. That's most reason why adults will come and take up a self-defense or martial art, because they had
Mm.
something done to them, and now they have to look for a corrective action because there's no preventive measures before. You know, whatever happened. The kids, you know, they get pushed in because their parents are, I don't want my kid to be a victim. I want to be more confident, right? So there's different
100%.
sorts of things there. So the way in which my mentality now is, it's why I still train, why I teach as well, is two things. It's you're training to avoid violence.
Mm.
So I want to know that I'm training at a 10 of 10 all the way up here. So if I
Mm.
come against a 6, it's nothing. I don't care. I
Mm.
want to be coming up against a 10. I don't want to be messing around with a 6. I haven't got time for that. If I have to go against a 10, boom, happy to do that with, right? or is there a need to be violent? So avoiding violence, how do I avoid violence? You know, if we crack it down, you know, violence happens. There's like three sort of categories for violence. There's social violence, which will be like stuff that you get at weddings, nightclubs. Bruv, what you're looking at? You touched my girl. You stepped on my
Yeah,
new trainers. Road
yeah,
rage. You know,
yeah,
family altercations. It's all social. It's all status. You
yeah,
know, this has happened. My ego's been damaged. I need to
yeah,
prove something.
yeah,
Or it could be on the flip side where it's a good person just having a bad moment.
yeah, 100%,
Yeah,
bro.
yes, they're a good person. They don't want to get violent, but because they had such a bad day, you know, something's happened. There's like, you know what, bang, I'm not having this. You know, I feel invisible today. And this person, you know what, and it happens. You know, you can see these videos. There's one video that circulates on social media about this guy. He gets bumped in the under.
Mm.
He's in the underground or the subway,
Yeah, it
and
is. Yeah, yeah,
and next
underground.
thing
Yeah,
you know, he gets bumped. The person didn't see him. He just walks off, and he's just like, what? So he gets so annoyed, just turns around, walks back, bang, shanks him in the neck, walks off, and he's just like, whoa, whoa, you know,
yeah, it's not
self-defense isn't
normal,
going to
innit?
help you with that. Martial arts isn't going to help you with that. You know what is
Nah.
going to help you with that? Being polite. Sorry for bumping into you, mate.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
100%,
what's
bro.
going to help. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's so you know.
if he said that, it would have neutralized the situation. It would have
Yeah,
calmed him
yeah,
down.
yeah. Exactly. Sorry. You know,
Mm.
words are extremely powerful. You know, we've been given the Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Those
Mm.
words are even more powerful. You know, that's
Yeah,
where we draw our strength from. So
yeah,
words are powerful. The way in which you use them, the way in which you deliver them as well, the tone, the speed, whatever, you know, all those things will affect what you're saying and how you're saying it and the environment you are saying it as well. So you want to be able to avoid violence, or are you training for a need to be violent? So with me personally, I'm not training. Well, I'm training to avoid violence at most times because I don't need to get into a fight anymore. My job, or not even my job, your job as a bunda, as a son, as a husband, as a brother, as a chacha, as a mama, whatever, as a taya, you know, your job is to come back and look after your family, to be the rock. If you are
uh-huh.
then to go out, someone's literally cut you off in the car and you
Uh-huh.
decide to get all road rage and you step out, you know, you like, yeah, you know what? You pulled out your baseball bat straight away. They step up to you and they stab you, bang, bang, bang. What for? They cut you off.
Yeah, who cares, isn't it? Minor, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, and this stuff about, you know, road rage or home rage, you know, that needs to be really unlocked. You know, you can be the happiest guy outside, you know, but when you have road rage or home rage, that that is violence against your family. That is abuse against your family, right? That even the home rage, you don't have to be violent towards your family. You don't have to lay a single finger of them. But if you're effing and blinding and bandy and whatnot, and you're smashing stuff and breaking stuff, that is traumatizing. You are damaging your relationships with your partners, your spouse, your kids, your siblings, and everyone else. And it's just like, well, then you're not avoiding violence. Then when it comes to a need to be violent, my reason why I train all these things, is because I feel we live in a time where it's going to be crunch time, right?
Mm.
Society, it's teetering,
It's
you know,
breaking down, innit?
it's breaking down. But as my mentality keeps going on, it's just like, you know what? It's not going to be a civil war or a physical civil war. There's so much that is happening that is soft. You know, we are the UK population is being changed. The Gorde are being outbred at the moment. They are being Europeans are being outbred. So what are they
Mm.
going to do? If it's a numbers game, you know, so it's just like, okay, what do we do then? The need to be violence, okay. Yes, physical skill, good. Okay,
Mm.
mental skill. Do you know how to use your computers? How to be violent with your algorithms? We get
Mm.
attacked and bombarded by those all day? What are we seeing? What sort of things are we looking at, and then going, right, oh, this is bad, putting those comments in. So knowing when it comes to those sorts of things, it's like, right, train. Are you training to avoid violence, or are you training and need to be violent? And that's going to be your lifestyle. Are you on the road? Are you a roadman? Are you on the doors? Or are you happy living in your house? Because what's the chances of someone actually coming into your house and invading? 1%. What's the chance of a random hoodlum coming up and stabbing you? 1%, maybe 2%. If you are living that lifestyle, then yes, the percentage is high. Violence is committed 80% of the time from people you know or have had an interaction from.
100%,
Very
bro.
rarely is it from a sociopath or a predator. And that takes us on to our second violence. So we have social violence and social violence. These are people that want to be violent, but they ain't going to do it in public. These are the ones who are going to target you. These are the ones that, it's not that I want you. It's, this is my victim profile. You are in the right place at the right time to be my victim. That's it. And even stalking. But stalking goes along the lines of, goes into that hybrid, because it's social, because you keep having that interaction, because the stalker's there. So I believe one of the guys, they posted, I think it was AK Media, how this guy put a tracker underneath one of the ladies' cars. Right?
Yeah, bloody hell,
Random female, he's stalking her, put a tracker. It's like, shit. Wow. So there's different types of violences that you want to sort of look at, and what you're going to be dealing with. So with me, I'm like, look, society breaks down, zombie apocalypse, let's go.
yeah. Maharaj gave us hukam tyar par tyar, innit? And this
Yes,
is
always be
for us.
ready for
Guru
it.
Gobind Singh Ji is Rabdi Jot, light of God. And if they need to be packing, they were tyar par tyar. All the gurus trained. They know they're antarjami. They know the future, innit? It's no hukum
Yes,
to carry shotgun for no
yes,
reason, innit, bro?
definitely.
It's not.
Can Aman Singh, Aman with a van,
Yeah,
your comment there. Most up in there don't know how to throw a punch. So this is what I'm talking about here.
yeah,
Learning to avoid violence or a need to be violent. You don't need to know how to throw a punch. You need to know how to throw your words. Your words are the most powerful thing. We've got a prime example. We have Zafanama. Zafanama, boom. Power of words. That's what we need to know. And that's the thing, is we're all too focused on being too physical. We are here having too much intermingling, interfighting with one another, in my opinion. If we knew how to use our words, if the Sikh dysphoria in the UK knew how to use our words, we would have as much political power as the Canadians do.
yeah.
Words are powerful. So avoid violence, but use the violence with your words.
Yeah, Miri Piri. So sometimes you got to back up your words as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to back it up. We have to back
Yeah.
it up.
So
But,
you
I'm
gotta
only
know.
for like 1% time in my life. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, thank God. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
thank God. It never happened to me.
But what's that saying? I rather own a gun but never use it, but I rather have it in case I need it, innit? Do you know what I mean? One
Yeah.
of them ones.
But,
Or
however,
what's
you
that
need to train
gardener
that
one as
gun.
well?
Yeah,
Was it a
train the gun.
gardener?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the gardener one? There's a
Yeah,
quote.
yeah,
I rather,
yeah. I would rather be uh, a warrior
yeah.
in a garden rather than a gardener within a war.
Yeah. That's classic, innit? So
Yeah,
that's basically what you're saying, innit?
yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Yeah.
You have to be able to back it up, and you have to be able
Yeah.
to back it up in the most likely environments you feel, or the most likely environments you live in. If you live in
Yeah.
those areas, then yeah, you have to be physical. If you
Oh,
don't,
bro. Yeah,
I don't need to be physical anymore. I'm married. I've got kids. We're here. We're talking. I'm here helping the sangha. I don't have my role isn't to be violent. I don't want to be violent. Do I want to
no,
teach
that's
violence? Yes. Do I want to also teach how to prevent you from not having to be violent? Of course. But however, I want to teach you I want you to find out inside you how you can be as comfortable as possible with being violent. It's not nice. It's not nice. It's not nice feeling someone else's organs or bones crushing in your hands, hearing the sound of
Mm,
bones break. Awful, seeing that blood up. It's not nice. Yeah, if you've done it
yeah,
or whatnot, it's not nice. We look at the films, the TV, they glorify it. Everyone wants to be fucking John Wick out there.
yeah.
No, you know,
You gotta do what you gotta do to survive, though. Simple as that. When it comes to life or death, like just say you're not violent, you use words. But some people you cannot use words with. They're gonna come and hit you.
of
Wrong
course,
place,
yeah,
wrong time. And
agreed.
that's when you gotta go into that flip mode and think, I'm gonna fucking survive this. Whatever
Survive,
happens to
yeah,
them, whatever court case happens, whatever happens,
yeah,
if I don't act, I'm not surviving. You know what they say, I'd rather be bloody carried by judged by 12 than carried by 6. If you go prison, you go prison, at least you're alive. Your kids can write to you, they can come and see you. But if
yeah.
someone started trouble on you and you know you're in danger, my advice, my opinion is do what the fuck you got to stay alive. Bucky, their backup or the comebacks or the police or whatever, you deal with that after. Number one thing is survive that encounter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if it's gone into that predator mode,
Yeah,
you cannot talk it down. You haven't even had a chance.
yeah,
It hasn't even been in that social violence aspect. The guy's gone straight into predator mode. You have to. Whereas going back into that social violence side of things, you're talking about the aftermath. What's going to happen? How many times have you been in a confrontation where you've hit someone and they come back with their boys?
yeah,
As you said, there's court cases. Some people will do the legal route. Some people will come back with more violence. They can see there's so many cases out there. This is something that I like to study and learn. That there was this one case where this guy, he had a bar fight with this
yeah,
guy, punched him, knocked him out, job done. Seven
yeah,
months later, the guy who threw the punch and beat up the guy was out with his girlfriend. They
yeah,
went to the cinema. They came out of the cinema. That guy that he knocked out saw him. The guy with his girlfriend didn't even recognize the guy.
yeah.
These guys had been watching a football game. They charged up, and there's three of them. He's three of him and three mates, and he's like, right, this is what he did. We're gonna do him. And you know what they did? They
Mm.
just turned around. He just chased him, bang, stabbed him in the back a few times, and legged it.
Oh wow.
And it's just like, whoa, what is the aftermath? He could have avoided that social violence in the bar in the beginning just by using his words, right? Because like that sort of environment is gonna happen. You got loud music, you got alcohol, you have drugs. Um, as soon as the women start to leave, the estrogen level drops down and the testosterone goes up. Only one thing is gonna happen with there, yeah. And it happens.
Yeah. But with some, well, our experience with up in here, they normally start the trouble, and when you bang them out, then they go to the police.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the aftermath. That's what you have to deal with because it's their
Yeah,
ego. Because that's it. Their ego, their insecurity has
yeah,
now kicked in. So that's why it's the mindset. If you haven't got it up here, you don't want to be violent. You don't want to have to get physical. But if you need
yeah.
to, you're gonna produce.
You got to. Joe, next question, brother. How do you, how do you incorporate Sikh values or mindset into your training program for the kids, teens, and adults?
So with my Warriors program,
Yeah.
that's not Sikhi based at
Okay.
all. So that's not
Okay.
everything. However,
Yeah.
so at the moment I've got my Warriors Virtue program that I'm putting out there. Go, look, this is what I teach. If you look at those virtues there, yeah. So we teach 14 virtues to our kids. So we have courage, we have truth, we have honor, we have loyalty, we have discipline, hospitality, uh, being an entrepreneur and work ethic, self-resilience, perseverance, contentment, compassion, humility, equality, and knowledge. What part of those aren't part of Sikhi?
Yeah. That
What
is
part of them
basic
aren't?
San that's San Sapai in it, summed up there, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What isn't? And then, so when it comes to when I'm doing the boxing with the guys, that's where I start dropping it in. I speak to them there. If I do have my normal classes, and it just so happens to be only the Sikhs in the class that are there at that time, then I will really go into Sikhi. However, what I do, I draw on the warrior values. This is what's happened here. I won't pinpoint it to Sikhi, but because they can uh, resonate with the harmony and the oneness of those Sakya or those experiences, they're like, okay, yeah. I don't mention that they're Sikh, or I will say this person, that person, or someplace, you know. So they go, there is this value. So I don't try pushing it down to it. It's like, look, once you start understanding that all these virtues are what's going to help you be a better person, a better warrior, a better king, a better queen, a better husband, a better wife, a better lover, a better son or daughter. This is what makes you better. And if that puts you onto that path of Sikhi, perfect.
Safe, bro. So, how has teaching martial arts and self-defense helped build confidence and character in students, especially your work with young people and women?
Yeah, yeah. So give an example of that. So with the young people, with the boxing, it's great because they have to fight. They have to get physical. So in my little warriors program, they don't have to spar or anything like that. When it comes to that, it's like, look, if you want finish, you'll get fitness. And this is what I love, what Huddy's done. Everything GRA, bang, beautiful. That is, to me, is one of the greatest things for the bunt when it
Mm,
comes to getting a platform, a new platform, carved it out, bang, let's go do it. So
yeah.
getting people there in there, it's just like, they come in, being confident isn't being about throwing that punch. Being confident is like holding hands, shaking with a firm handshake, looking someone in the eyes and, going, hey, how's it going? Or not even taking nonsense from someone. It's like knowing who you are. So we've had a lot of kids in our classes that are really shy. They'll come in, they don't want to sit with their parents. They don't want to be doing anything. Uh, at the vessel with the kids, we teach them through play. So
Mm,
making it fun is always going to be good. It's not like the training that we used to do in the 90s or in the 80s, let alone the
mm.
70s. That wouldn't be allowed. That's for the black belts. That's for closed doors. That doesn't go on social media. You'll get scrutinized. They'll be like, where's your safeguarding gone?
It's a different world. It's a different
Yeah,
world now, isn't it?
yeah.
So,
Has your risk assessment assessed that?
yeah.
So, well, we're training violence. We're trained to be like that because we have to, but not everybody wants to train like that. So, like building it up, and we do that through the soft skills. We'll do that through the soft skills. Not even doing, we do that through our belt system as well. So, look, here's something to achieve. You
Mm,
want confidence. What is confidence? So, with me, when it comes to um, confidence, it's I draw on. So yeah, one particular person in Sikhi, and that's Baba Bidhi.
okay.
That man himself, he oozed out confidence,
Mm,
so much confidence.
mm,
And what I mean with that is, um, confidence. There's no good or bad, in my opinion. There's only intent. What are you doing something for? If we're talking about violence, what are you using violence for? Are
mm,
you are you using violence to secure your family's safety, or are you or are you using violence because of your wants, because of your ego,
mm.
right?
Bullying.
Yeah, you know, a, 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 a slash to the neck
Mm,
is a slash to the neck in self-defense, or if it's in prison, doesn't matter. Same move, different contents, different intent. Was it a gang initiation? Was it self-defense? Someone come up from behind, bang, I was out to stab him and whatnot. So that's the
mm.
context. No good or bad. And then the same thing, with confidence. What's the opposite of, well, not even opposite. What's the flip side of a confidence person if their intent is not good?
100%.
Yeah. If the intent's
Mm,
good, we say they're a good banda, they're a good man,
mm,
right? Or a good team, whatever. The other one, on the other side, is they're a con man. They use that same skill set, that same feeling in them to con people, right? They take their money, they'll take this, they'll do this. And that's what I love about Baba Bidhi Chand. He was a confidence man. That's where that con man phrases come from. Confident man.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff he did, you know, um, he goes to, eventually finds the guru. The guru is like, you know what? If you're going to do it with good intent. If you're going to do this, and you got all this, if you look at the story where he takes the Gorde from
Yeah,
the Mughals, he goes there
yeah,
3 times. He's there. He's dressed up. First of all, he's dressed up as like a sorcerer, like a prophet or fortune teller,
yeah.
right?
Fortune
And
teller.
he's got the talk. He's got gift of the gab. He's put the clothes on. He's made himself look like this. You know, uh, and then eventually, he fools the emperor once. Okay, he comes back to, oh, how did he do that to me? He gets back in. He fools the guards. He fools them again. Then eventually, he gets back in. He fools the guards. He takes the Gorde. He's like, hey, look, I got your Gorde and take him over. I take him. So it's just like, it's just like he initially was somebody who would be using that skill set to do bad intents for his own gain.
Yeah,
Eventually, he used the exact same skill set that we sit on that stage and we will shout out, going, look, bang, he used the exact same skill set, but he did it for Biard and for the Guru. He did it for the cause. And if he didn't do those acts, we wouldn't have certain things done for us. We would not have that. We would not have Bidhi Chand at all. The way that in that group still going on and what they symbolize and do. Was it who's the Jata Baba Avtar Singh? Is it? So with those guys. So that confidence, it's like, look, we can draw it from our own stuff. And it's just like, but it takes time. It takes practice. If you keep doing it, and that's what my previous video on discipline was, it takes time. How do you get good at something? You do it again and again and again and again. And that's what we do. We repeat. You said, things don't know how to punch. How do they get good at punching? They have to punch time after time after time. If they're not getting the good reps in, they're never going to be good. And it's making sure that they have that structure in place, just not the physical structure where they have to come in every day. We bow in, we go through the class rules, we go for our warm up, they do push ups, press ups, burpees. Then we're going for our striking, we're going for our footwork, we're going for our breathing. And it's that mindset. And it's just like, okay, we've got our belt system going, look, you've done this so much that now, look, here's a belt. You've done it. You are at a particular standard. I can give you a stamp of approval. Bang. That's how you build confidence. Well done. Good job. Words make people confident. Actions make people confident. Compliments do. A pat on the back. So there's so many different ways on how you can build up confidence in kids. If you keep telling them, no, 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 stop doing this, stop doing that, they're going to end up with that same sort of scar where you be pre-programmed. I can't do this. You're worthless.
mm,
You're never going to amount. So, and that's what's happened to a lot of us. It's, our parents, said, no, you can't do this, especially why we didn't get a lot into sports.
mm.
You ain't been into football. The amount of footballers that I knew, up there footballers that had tryouts for like Derby, United, Liverpool, Chelsea back in the day was unbelievable. But their parents, nope, dentistry, medicine,
Pounds,
pharmacy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they didn't have the route. Their parents like, no, it doesn't look good. That confidence, their parents of going, not being confident and having pride in their child. Go, look, my child's playing for the first team. My child's in the ring, smashing up this guy. Look at it. You look at it in the Bassi. You see Cam
Yeah,
there. Bang, here's my son. Boom, proud. Here's my son. Look what he's doing. Look what we're doing for the community. And that's
yeah,
what it takes. It's
100%.
like that mentality of now changing of no, you can't. It's what can you do? And it's not having, that mentality of you can do anything. I don't agree you can do anything. Sikhi isn't about being you can do anything. It's conservative, right? We have our rules. We have our code of conduct. We accept what you do. However, we don't have to tolerate it. We don't have to tolerate these behaviors, right? But it's accepting the things that help us grow and make us better, just not as an individual, but as a family, in your peer groups, and as well as the fund.
Yeah, just on that note, I'd like to say to all the sisters that are watching, to build the confidence, look at the me and Manu jail stories. The women got chopped bit to bit.
Yes.
My Pago, she led the people that abandoned Guru Gobind Singh, said she's like made them feel ashamed and go back. So, I was having this conversation earlier with females. I was like, she's like, I'm not motivated to train. I can't train. I've got no motivation. I need to get a PT. I need to get this. I said, look, you're Guru Gobind Singh's daughter. You should be there thinking that no one can F with me. If someone tries to rape me or tries to chuck me in a car, I need to be able to do some damage back. I go, this should be in our blood naturally. We don't need motivation. We don't need a PT or whatever. Because she's like, she knows all the exercises, right? She's like, I just need a PT to tell me to do one rep, one rep. I was like, you need to think about our Sikh history. You know what I mean? That should be getting the extra reps in. You don't need someone to tell you do one more rep. Go on, go on, go on. This should be instilled. It should be a default baseline, bro. We should
Yeah,
all be
no one's going to
thinking,
say, keep running, jump over that fence. You need to get to
yeah,
safety. No one's,
yeah, that's
you
what I'm
keep going.
saying. And like a lot of sisters say, oh, when something happens, they freeze, right?
Yes,
Now,
yes,
this is where visualization comes in, right? So
yes.
I was into gangs, bro. We fought the gangs that were terrorizing Sikhs. Yeah, we had, I've stabbed a lot of people, bro. God's watching. I'm not lying. Yeah. So what we used to do, what I used to do, bro. Everyone gets butterflies. Yeah, no matter if it's the
Yeah. It's
fifth
how you
mission,
manage that.
sixth mission, seventh mission. You're thinking about police. You're thinking about this, that, or that. So the night before, so first we go and do the recon and intelligence. He's gonna come out of there. Two men are gonna come here. One man's gonna come there, or walkie-talkies. All that. We do the recon, do the
Yeah, the
intelligence.
refuge and all that. That's
So
good.
the night before, you're getting butterflies. You're thinking, yeah. So then I'm visualizing. I'm visualizing success. I'm visualizing the moves that I'm gonna do. I'm visualizing it all. Then the butterflies kind of calm down, thinking it's gonna be okay. And on the day of the mission, you're in go mode. So I encourage sisters, don't visualize it too much because people say, oh, manifestation. But visualize if someone grabs you from behind, an elbow, some sort of move. I don't know what move you're gonna key in the hand, or you gotta visualize these scenarios. And then what that does is it programs your central nervous system. It is so powerful. This is what Sikhi is. Why Guru is a good mantra, right?
Yes.
Like I said, you know how you repeat the punches? What are we doing? Nitnem, repeat.
Yes.
Why repeat. Why repeat.
Yep.
We
Do it
repeat
again and again and again and again and again.
until it becomes that frequency, right? So when you visualize, you're visualizing yourself in self-defense scenarios, running away scenarios. I could sit here and visualize now in a sea, I'm in a beach, nice, I'm in Jamaica. I could visualize that my body's gonna start reacting to it, it's gonna start calming down. Like even if my legs ain't working properly, if I visualize running, my body's gonna feel like I've ran. That's the power of visualization. Now, I grew up in a lot of poverty, bro. So we grew up in council estates. We didn't have money for a screamer or none of that. I know, or rotini simasondi. So I visualized two moves here,
Yeah.
bro. One slice, one stab, kitchen knife, 1 pound. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah. Yeah.
fancy.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
So
need training. You don't need training.
them two moves. I visualize, I practice, repeat, bro. I used to sit and watch films with a knife. I used to bloody every time people think I've lost the plot. Yeah, my mum just said me too. Like she thought I was mental, but I wasn't. I repeated it so many times that when it came to battle mode, bro, once I had a fight with some Tamils and it was an argument. It kicked off and then I just walked away. I don't think they're gonna come and get me, so he's coming
Nah,
and
Tamil, they'll come back with
yeah, yeah, yeah.
even
So
more. Yeah, they
he's
so
pulled their
hungry.
little war. It's gone for my neck. I've moved, and because I've practiced that move so much, I've got my Rambo knife. I had a Rambo knife that day. I've got my Rambo knife. I managed to duck it, and I just done the moves that I've been practicing, bro. And it wasn't even pre-rehearsed. He didn't give me no warning. He came from behind. I just saw the corner of my eye. The mistake he made, he grabbed my shoulder first, so he wanted to turn me around and stick me in the neck. But as soon as he turned me around, autopilot, I saw the knife, and I went boom, boom, boom. What? Why? Because some people, when they get into a fight, they forget they got a kurban there, bro, because they don't practice pulling it out. Some of theirs ain't even gonna come out the case, bro. It's rusty. It's never gonna
It's
come
rusty,
out.
it's hard up, it's underneath. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I used
yeah.
to keep it in a place. I used to keep it in a place where it's gonna come out. I used to practice day in, day out, pulling it out.
Yeah.
And when I was left my house, I used to tap it to make sure it's there, know it's there.
Yeah.
It's all visualization, bro. I don't know how you think about my methods, but bruv, they worked for me, bro. And this is the advice I give the women and even the guys. Visualize 10 bande around you, surrounding you. When you go to sit somewhere, yeah, make sure your back's against the wall so no one can bottle you from behind. You know, these little things, you know, they might be a bit too far-fetched for some people, but people that have lived that life, you know, we've lived that life. You know, we pick where we're gonna sit. We might circle the block once, check all the Guardian ones
Mm.
before we park up. You know what I
Agree,
mean?
man. Yeah.
And we might think
Exactly. You
someone's
don't
in
want to
our
be caught
bin.
out. One simple mistake,
Yeah,
you get
one
caught.
cut
That's it.
slip in your game over. So you circle the block. If you got beef and you got people after you, you look at dodgy people, hoodies. You look in the Guardian. You look, is someone hiding behind bushes? Is someone might pop out your bin? Cause
Mhm.
bro, I know man's that have hidden bins and
I like
popped
your
out and
thinking.
jumped
I
them.
like your thinking.
Yeah, I know man's have hidden bins, popped out and jumped the guy, bruv. So
Yeah. Yeah, man.
it's the best place to hide. Hide in the bin. As soon as you hear someone in the door, jump out, boom, boom, boom. So
Man, man.
you gotta have visualization. You gotta have prevention skills. If you're not living that life, fine. But you know what? Always look over your shoulder now and again just to see who's coming behind you. If you're
Yeah, you know
walking along,
what? I agree with
mm,
what you said there 100%. It is all about situational awareness
100%.
and mental preparedness. If that is not there, forget that you know how to do a spinning elbow, or you know how to do 100 kicks and all this or whatnot, or know whatever, you know how to slice the skin off an apple with your eyes closed.
Yeah, I've
If
never been to
you
no
have not got
classes,
that
bro.
mindset,
Yeah,
and that's what you say, going into, that's how I had to get out of that freeze and flight mode, is because that's the only
yeah,
way you have to go into your OODA loop. So you have your OODA loop, which is OODA loop. So you observe what's going on, then you orientate, you make a decision, and then you act. That will either happen in micro milliseconds or it could happen over months. And if you keep doing that, what did I do? What did I observe? But if you are not observing what's going to happen or what you are going to do, and you haven't analyzed it, you've broken down, you haven't visualized it, nothing. It's just like,
100,
you could do it as literally um, that when people come to me, like people come to me for private and when they're training, so uh, whether it's they're on the doors, they're in the local, they're in the prisons, or they're security. So they want to do it. It's like, what tactic shall I use? What tactic shall I use? How do I defend this? I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's
mm,
fine. I'm like, we'll get to it. But we're here for an hour. I'm going to spend the next 40 minutes getting into this. How do we switch this
mm,
on? How do we switch this on? Then we're only going to do 20 minutes physical. And
yeah.
out of that 20 minutes physical, we're going to rep one thing. That's it. And that's all you need to do.
No,
And
yeah,
that is not martial arts. That is not even self-defense. That's in this whole different world. And this is what people don't understand about, martial arts is this. Oh, you must be good. You must be strong. Oh, you got a black belt. Oh, you must have a six pack. You must be able to kick over the head. You must be do a backflip. That's nothing to do with it. That's just extra. That's good for films. That's good for laughs and shits and giggles, for tournaments, competitions. That's good.
yeah,
But when you know that I'm going to be walking home tonight anyway, if I go into that bout, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to get concussed and knocked down, and I'll wake up with A&E, right? But I've got
mm,
all medical around me. I've got all my loved ones know what I'm doing, right? Whereas if you're in that real world, that risk you take, if you are not prepared, you step out that door, and your phone isn't charged, right? And something happens, and you need to communicate with someone. Boom, you don't have money to make a phone call. You don't people. Or the other one is you step out your door. You're saying with a band, kick, fight back before you get into the car. Never be taken to a secondary location. If you fight fucking hammer, tooth, and nail to stay in that primary location, you do not get taken anywhere else. If you are taken
mm.
somewhere else, you don't know what the hell is going to go in.
The
And
odds
then
are not good.
nobody knows
Mm,
where you are. Provided you can tell people That's the protocol that my parents instilled with us. Wherever you're going, tell us. Tell us what time you should be back. We don't care if you're going to come back at 4 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning, or you're not going to come back until 2 days later. Tell us when,
Tell us.
where you're going, who you're going with. Tell us when you get there. We don't care who you're with. We don't care what you do. However, if something happens, we know where you are and we can come to you. And it's perfect. If you can let people put that protocol in there, that awareness, and if you haven't got that at a family level, that's dangerous. And that's that disconnect of, how do you avoid violence? That's one way of avoiding extra violence because you've told people where you are. I'm with this person, that person. I know.
Yeah, bro. No, excellent stuff. Like I said, I haven't been to no classes, nothing. We was chucked
You
in the
don't have
deep
to.
end, bro.
It's life skills.
Life
This is
skills. That's
all
what I'm
life skills.
saying. When
Yeah,
you're in the practical, forget the theory, bro. When in the practical, you're in the deep
yeah,
end. Life teaches you, I know.
yeah, exactly. You learn majority of that from literally living.
Living
I had
it,
to
bro.
learn half of it from fucking books
Yeah, yeah,
because I didn't
yeah.
have that. I didn't have that experience. Nor did I have that people. I wasn't in that environment. I
In
tried to
that
keep myself
environment.
away from it because I was like, look, I don't want to go to prison.
Hmm.
I want to go home. I don't want to be stabbed. I don't like being punched in the street anyway. I don't want to be
Hmm.
stabbed. Being hit with poles isn't nice, especially when you're being blindsided. It's
100%,
always
bro.
looking at your shoulder, and it's just like, oh, aftermath, shit, I've done something, and they're knocking on your door. It's like, geez, you're at my place of residence. My mum's there, my
Mm,
dad's there, my sisters are there, and now you're here with a
mm,
group of people and you're going to invade. It's like, whoa,
bro.
I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to be ready for it. But if I'm there in that environment for whatever reason, I'm with my boys, and this has happened, we're there, and someone's kicked down the door because one of them wants to be, you know, dealing for whatever reason, and they've had an altercation, and someone storms through the door, and they got a group, and they got machetes, like fuck,
Mm,
bang, it has to be go time. But the risk in that is different because I'm with my boys. I'm not with my
mm,
family. I don't want to
yeah,
get, you know, because my boys, I know we can all handle ourselves. We're all going to go. My sisters, my mum,
fam.
the youngsters, I have to protect them. If they get them, I don't know if someone's going to come through the door. They bash me. They've gassed the house, which knocked us out. And the next thing you know, we're tied up. And it's like, we're going to rape your females in front of you.
No,
And
it
that's what was
happens, bro.
going, and that was going
The
on in
savages.
84. That's
Yeah.
84 stuff. In the
Mughal
90s,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, Mughal
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Asian things, bruv. We got it easy. And our bus on
Yeah,
their PS5 kid, them mans were living in the jungles. They'll get beheaded. Bro, imagine the guts it takes to fight on the battlefield, bro.
yeah.
Doesn't matter how good you
And
are,
then
you know what I
making
mean?
sure your body doesn't get taken as a prize.
Yeah.
Because
Nah, scary.
that is why they had to take Gurpreet Singh cease. Imagine
Mm,
that afterwards he's come down, going, look, we chopped one of these guys up in half, we boiled the other guy, we wrapped the other guy up in cotton, poured oil and lit him up. Now the main guy we chopped his head off, so we got it nice and prestige. Let's stick it on the pike and parade it everywhere. No,
mm,
bang, no, the things were cleverer then. They go, we
mm.
are not letting them take that cease. Yeah.
They brought it back to
So,
Maharaj, didn't it?
yeah,
Maharaj Guru Gobind Singh was 11 or 10 at the time, innit? He was very young.
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, then he put his head on hand on the thing that brought him back,
yeah,
and he didn't cry, bro. He didn't cry. He said, "Okay, now we're gonna raise an army." The
exactly. Well,
bro things were
he had the army.
different level, bro. Where
Yeah,
to?
yeah, yeah, exactly. We
Our
are
history
nothing
is just
compared.
yeah, our history is just amazing. Because they had the Barney as well. Barney, what about this, innit? They weren't just army tammy like Bande like Castlo, innit?
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have TikTok or reels to distract them with or anything
Oh,
like
bro,
that. Yeah,
our people just argue on the people just argue with other things out. You know what I mean?
definitely.
That's all they do. If you don't have the same opinion, it's like cultish now, isn't it? Everyone's got their own cults.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pathetic, bro. It's pathetic. So next question, brother. Have you seen a transformation in individuals who?
Could you repeat that? Cut out. I saw up to
No. Oh, sorry, bro.
transformation.
have you seen a transformation in individuals who came in just for fitness and self-defense, but walked away with something much deeper? Have you got any examples?
Yeah, so I've got one guy, so it's Gorda. He's 54 years old.
Mm.
Never done
Okay.
anything like this before. Well, he boxed young when he said he boxed when he was a teen, and you can tell he boxed when he was a teen. He's there. He's a blue collar guy. He's
Mm.
just there. He wasn't doing anything before. Now, he's been with me for 4 months. 54-year-old. So he comes to my Tuesdays and Thursdays classes. So those are our hardcore days. Those are for people who are more intermediate. And he just plugged in straight away. And he stepped up and he's just like, you know what? He's like, Rick, I've been here for 4 months. I've lost
Yeah.
1.5 stone. I'm having a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah.
I'm feeling fitter. I'm feeling better. And when he comes in, the energy he brings, he loves sparring with us. He loves sparring with the kids and the women, or the youngsters and the women. And it's like, look, I love this. He's like, my only issue is I can't talk about this with my mates because they're going to take the mickey. Like, why are you doing it? And I'm like, yeah, this is what happens. Oh, you do martial arts, show us this, we're going to punch you, this and the other. He's just like, but the relationship now he's having because of it, his fitness levels, he's just like, before I started with you, I will go and see my physio 3 times a month. And he's like, I only go once
Mm.
now. Once a month. That's all I need. I'm like, you know what? That's fantastic. Yes, we're punching, we're hitting each other, but everything else that we're doing that supplements it, the stretching, the soft skills, the other hard skills, the physical work is just blessed as well. There's another kid. He's really shy. He's super shy, and his dad's in the army as well. His dad's military personnel, uh, and
Mm.
to see where he was 2 years ago. He knows what to do. He's shy. He speaks up. So when I take the mickey out of him in class, he started giving me jip back.
Mm.
I'm like, great, because this is it. So like,
That's good.
this is what I like to provide
Mm.
the kids is just like, I'm like, look, people are going to take the mickey out of you. How are you going to come back? Are you going to shy away or are you going to say something? What are you going to say? I'm going to say to me, what's the worst that's going to happen to me? That I'm going to come out and say something. I'm going to give you a clip around the ear hole, or I'm going to say, you know what? Good one.
Mm.
Good one. That's what you should be saying. And it's that mindset. So you can either train that mindset ways in your head, because that's what you must have been doing. When you're locked up, that's all you got. You got this. You can either create
Mm.
it or break it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, the next play is if you're not doing it in there, you're going to have to role play it. So if I'm there, go, you know what, stop being such a fairy or such little pansy. Man up. Oh, well, you heard this. Oh, you got punched here. Boom. Who cares? Oh, they said this. Don't snitch. Don't, sometimes the class will be like, you know what, snitches get stitches. Because that's how, what the saying was.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah.
Good, bro.
So it is. So there's many different ways, everybody who comes to me leaves differently in some way or
Yeah.
another. That's my goal.
Nice.
I don't care
No.
if you are with me with 5 minutes or 5 decades. I want to impart something to you. And I hope that
To
sticks
improve
with
a
you
lot.
for the rest of the life. If it's only one thing, if it's only 1% out of 99%, if that 99% you're calling me out to say that was BS, but that 1% helped you and made you a better person, perfect.
Yeah. That's why you do this.
Yeah.
What's the next question, brother? What are the biggest mindset shifts you had to make, either personally or as a teacher in this journey?
Oh, I would say more of a business mindset.
Yeah.
That will be the one. I'm not a businessman.
Yeah.
Same thing. I've been preconditioned. Get your
Yeah.
studies done. Get your degree.
Yeah.
Get a job. Get a house. Get married. Don't worry about signing up
Yeah.
your own business. Don't do that. So there was a lot of mindset when it came to that with family, especially with because our family's not like that. My in-laws are. My in-laws, they all work for themselves, all entrepreneurs and do their own stuff. Whereas my family, both my mum's side and my dad's side, 95% have degrees and have worked, gone straight into a job.
Okay.
They're professionals. They're not the Dell boys or grafters or hustlers.
Yeah. Del boy.
Yeah.
Classic. So, in a world full of distractions and stress, how do martial arts and fitness make discipline, purpose, and spiritual strength?
It's my go-to. It's my go-to. I have to do some form of training at least every day. It's part of my life. Um, it helps me to connect. It is for me doing that physical act is Simran. That's all it is. Sometimes you can do
Mm,
non-Simran,
mm,
sometimes you can do physical Simran,
mm.
and that's exactly what it is to me.
Mm. Singh used to do a lot of training. He used to train every day as well. So art is that's why he's 80 years old in the battlefield, huh?
Yeah,
18, he joined the Khalsa Fortunes 18, 1-8, and survived so many battles and got Shahidi when he's about 80. You know, up in a good day, man, the diet's so bad. This the by the time they're 50, they will need walking sticks, huh? A lot
mate,
of
they're on
people are kicking the bucket,
morphine and all this.
and a lot of people our age will start kicking the bucket. The drinking, the lack of movement is up, brother. People start having heart attacks, cardiac arrest, strokes, dementia, diabetes too. You know, we've got an
That's our
epidemic in
culture.
our community.
They're working themselves to
That's our
death.
culture, bro.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
working.
yeah,
They're
working
there.
themselves. Yeah,
Come on, that's it. They're not living, and
100%, bro.
this is what I'm liking about this sort of generation. We're mixing it up. You know, there's a lot of them going, no, you know what, I want to lose weight, I want to get fit, I want to get fit, I want to do something, which is good. Which is fantastic. It's like my dad, he can run around with his grandkids.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately for my mother, uh,
Mm.
she can no longer move due to a genetic disease. But otherwise, if she could, she
Mm.
would. You know, it's like
She
how
would,
many
yeah.
times, uh, how often would you actually really have played with your parents growing up? You wouldn't have, unless they were chachi and mummy that were younger than your parents.
Younger.
Yeah. They had to be younger to get on with them. This is why I got on with my younger mama, because he was a lot younger. With my older mama, yeah, older than my dad. He's like, no, better sit there, watch TV, read the book. You have to be active, and you have
Have
to
to be.
encourage the youth to be active. And if you're not encourage them to be active and you're not showing them, you're doing them a disservice.
When the Gurus were about, they had a zoo there, they had a wrestling. It was back in the day. Like you said, man, the parents have to be active. There's hiking, there's walking, they can ride bicycles, put them in sports. All the kids are on the screen, they're eating foods, kids, because of that. So soon. So yeah, martial arts is one way just to have this, Dave, build another community. A teacher becomes like another parent, and
Yeah,
your kids are fighting, if the kids are your the kids are you're taking them to GR8, you're taking them to places. You have an important role and inspirational role, and they can come to you for guidance. What do you just call you, bro?
could you repeat that last bit, the question?
What do your students call you? What do you call you? Master
Oh,
you
yeah, great question, mate. As you just said there, yeah, they look up to you to a parent. I get them all to call me Rick. I go,
Rick?
look, call me
So
Rick
all
or
right, we're
call
gonna
me
do a
Rick.
bit of
I was like, look,
all right.
we're all here on the same level. I was like, look,
Yeah,
I'm not going to put myself on this pedestal. I've got my ranks. I've got my ranks.
yeah.
I've got, bang. I was like, if you want to call me, I was like, I've got no ego. Call me by my name.
Nah, so
Call me coach. I'm like, look,
closer to
at
you.
the end of the day, yeah, exactly. It's like building up that relationship. I'm like, look, if you need me, you got me by my first name or my nickname, shall I say?
Right.
Rick's the nickname.
All right. So I'm gonna do a bit of role playing with you, yeah? I'm your student, yeah? All right. So Rick, teacher Rick, my mate's telling me to drink. I'm 18. They're telling me I'm a pussy if I don't drink. But I don't want to drink because I want to do martial arts. What should I do? Because I don't fit in. I want to be saying I'm a pussy if I don't drink. What should I do?
Well, it depends on my relationship with you. Depend on because so
Yeah,
if if we're really connected, so some of them
yeah,
it'll be like I'll speak to them real like, why do you feel like a pussy? What's making you
yeah,
feel like a pussy, right?
yeah, yeah.
Other people, bang, bang. Why do you feel like that? and I can speak to them like that because I know I can. Other people
Yeah.
will be like, um, it's like, do you want to drink? Do
Hmm.
you think it's the right thing to do? You know, so there's different approaches. Having a little scenario is like that horses for courses. Who's this person I'm dealing with? And this is what I like about teaching is every person is different, and it really tests me. It really tests me as an individual. Can I teach this person? Can I connect with them? Because I'm not going to connect with everyone. Not everyone wants to learn from me. Not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to like my methods. But those people who like me, they all got their own personal characteristics. They're with me because we have congruency. We have some form of congruency, either mentally, physically, spiritually, the way in which we talk or connect. Like with some, yeah, with that, as I said, I would say, why do you feel like a pussy for? Or, it's like, or it could be on the other side. It's like, let's say they're an Amritari. It's just like, why are you then hanging around with these people? Who are these people to you? You know what
Hmm.
Sikhi says. So yeah,
100%.
that's
No.
how I would play it.
Yeah.
It would have to be, what's the
Yeah.
background
It's not one.
scenario?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's your
there's more
rapport
than
with them? What's your relationship with them? How far can you take it? Are you
yeah.
gonna be formal? Are you gonna be like buddies? Or yeah, yeah, 100%, brother. So now, if you were the Kartak Jathedar, what rules would you give to the Sikhs? Like, what would you?
rules, rules.
Nah, just say anything you can implement right now. You're the Kartak Jathedar. You're Kartak Jathedar tomorrow. What are you gonna put out straight away? Like, what needs to change ASAP? Like, quick.
I would say two things. Two
Yeah,
things. Parents to spend more time with their kids
yeah,
on a good level.
yeah.
Secondly, that family interaction, getting them into more sports and events, getting them to come to more sangat,
Mm.
being active sangat. That's what I would say. And it's like, look,
So that.
just how we started off early in the conversation, you do not have an excuse to not know what is going on with regards to Sikhi in your area. If you have
100%.
if you have sangat in your area, something's going on. You are just doing you then. You're not becoming sangat.
Right, respect, brother. If you could talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you say?
Oh, there'll be a lot. There'll be a lot. There'll be a lot of don'ts.
Yeah, don't, innit? No, oh, bro, I'm full of regrets as well, man. It's hard, man. These regrets. When I'm doing my Simran, I'm thinking about these regrets. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of those. To me, it'll be like keep doing what you're doing. Just keep
Mm,
going. You
mm,
know what? Because it's your hookum. You don't know what's going to happen. That's all you can do.
mm. What do you think the future holds for Sikhs in the UK, bro? What do you think? Bad times come in, good times. Are we all right? Are we chilling? What do you think we need to be we need to be organized, more united? The Gurdwara needs to be a bit on it.
The last one, definitely. With that one, we need to be
Mm,
yard. Everybody, we need to have that ikta going on with us.
mm,
And then what I personally feel is we should be fighting our own battles
mm,
and not getting sucked in to theirs. We are not here for other people. We are here, yes, technically,
mm,
yes, we are. We are the protectors.
mm.
Yeah, I know we are
Yeah.
here. To me, we say, with Khalistan, do we need
Mm,
Khalistan? It'll be fantastic to have Khalistan. To me,
mm,
my idea of Khalistan isn't a piece of land. My
mm, mm,
my Khalistan is the whole earth, that whole
mm,
place, this whole planet. This is
mm,
Khalistan. This is Khalistan
mm,
Raj. This is how we rule it. If you need
mm,
help, we will support you. But just don't say I'm going to use the enemy of my enemy to take them out. And that's what we need to
mm.
have our blinkers on. We've gotten on so much. Like I would say, yeah, some of it will come from like my grandparents that era, and parents will be they still sort of got that love for the British. They'll be like, if the British
Mm,
weren't here, we wouldn't have this, we wouldn't do this. It's because of them we had. Yes, you are right. However,
mm,
we are more happy to have conflict with one another than them.
mm,
And
mm.
that's where we need to have that mind shift. Having that ikta, knowing let's support each other. We don't have to get along. The missiles never got along. The Gurus never got
No,
along with their brothers or their sons or their children, right? We
yeah.
got it all in our history saying that we have to get along. We have to be best friends. No, you got your mission. We got our
Mm,
mission. However, those missions should be congruent towards the fund and that end goal of having that Khalistan planetary wise, solar, universal, boom. Let's do it.
mm. No, respect, man. Been great show, bro. Thanks for coming, man.
Well,
Any, oh, any,
I appreciate this time
but
and
it's been
thank.
insightful, bro. It's good. It's needed to be said. It needed to be told. And Kent, man. Kent, you put that Kent on map, man. It's a lot of views.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Slough these days. It's still happening.
Yeah.
Still bits and bobs there, though. I really appreciate you having me on here. It's literally 2 hours. I didn't realize. Jeez,
Nah, it's good.
jeez, mate. I could still keep
It's
speaking, mate.
good material because people. Yeah, we could keep talking, but I gotta go wee, bro. That's
Yeah. So what I like
why
to,
that's why I'm moving like this, bro. So nah.
so what I like
Good
to
night,
say.
everyone. Nice up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
So
gonna say.
before I go, is I want to
Yeah.
thank you and everyone for watching and everyone who does watch this. And as a
Mm,
gift, so with me, I have a little gripe that I see a lot of Amritaris that are carrying their kabans and or people getting into Sikhi and want to get their Amrit Shakra and they haven't got a Scooby on their kaban or the understanding the rules and laws or legislation
mm,
of the kaban in the UK. So what I'm going to do, I've created this UK law and Gabon workshop that I hosted a couple of months ago, and I've
mm,
uploaded it and it's online. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you the link, and I'm going to give you
mm,
a discount code. It's completely free. So anybody who comes to you or to me and they ask for that link and that code, they can take it. They can see it, they
mm.
can review it. Later on this year, I'm going to be doing another workshop like that. The first one was 3 hours. It's most probably going to be 4 hours or 5 hours for that workshop where we're going to look at the legislation and then also how, in my opinion, you should be carrying and conducting your stuff with your kaban. Because when I ask
Okay.
the Hungs and other Amritaris, they haven't got a clue. And my mentality, I was like, geez, I'm like, one day I would love to take Amrit. But if the people who have taken Amrit don't know, and I know more than you with this sort of stuff, this needs to be out there. And you can't, yeah.
100%.
So, yeah, that's what I'll do
No,
for the song.
just send it to me. Send me everything, and when we upload it, I'll put it all down in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll send it to you over DM.
Yeah. No. Excellent. No, amazing, bro. Thanks for your time, brother. Thanks for everyone watching. Uncle
No
Mark
worries.
signing out.
We'll
Gurpreet Singh.
see you
Right,
later.
take care,
Take care,
brother.
brother. Take
Respect.
care, bye.
Bye.